guys, how's it going? Statman coming back at you, and yes, you may note, if you haven't already noticed, what I've been tending to do is giving Kylo something to say back there on my whiteboard that I have there. Nothing this week. I apologize for that, but I don't know, I just couldn't think of anything to say this week. I was feeling fairly unoriginal. And besides which, I'm running into a situation here making this video where I really just wanted to get some thoughts out about what I am picking up here, you know? Like, I know what I want to say and how I want to say it, so I want to get that out while I can, while it's still rattling around inside my head, because that's a rare occurrence every now and then. So, these are pickups from Amazon that I received thanks to some ads I placed on articles that I wrote for TeenageMutantNinjaTurtles.com. They told me to post a bunch of ads on there for Amazon, and I did just that. So, yeah, awesome. I received about $27, and I think it was $27.69 exactly, actually. So, God, the glare. I can't stand the glare. I like the glasses, I just don't like the glare. So never mind that. Anyways, I received enough to make a few purchases, which is a good thing because I ran into an issue recently where when I paid my taxes were taken out twice, which means they took out twice as much money as they were supposed to. Unintentionally, mind you, but they did it anyways. And so I didn't have as much money as I thought I was going to have. And honestly, like, I'm probably going to call them at some point and try and get the issue resolved. I've already tried to, and they didn't have it in their system yet, so I had to wait. And I've been waiting and just, seeing what happens. I'm mostly just hoping that something similar happened last year. I'm mostly just hoping that they send me a check in the mail for the difference that they took that they weren't supposed to take, essentially. So when that comes, everything will be fine. But until that happens, I'm skating on very thin ice here with not much money, right? So with that in mind, I've had to be very careful about how I'm spending my money. So it was nice to see that $27 gift card came in from Amazon, and I was able to use it to get some interesting things on there. So the first thing that I picked up with that gift card was something that I was informed may in fact be going out of print soon. Don't know for sure, but it is a first printing, and there are apparently indications that it may not be in print very much longer, and I knew for a fact I wanted to have it in my collection, so I decided to pick up, finally, Assault on Precinct 13, the John Carpenter film here from Scream Factory. So this isn't exactly a new release. It's been out for about a year or so. I think maybe even longer, actually. But this is definitely the version you want to get. It's the Scream Factory release. I don't know if this is really a horror movie. It's more of an action movie with some, I guess, a few small horror elements. But really it's an action slash siege movie with a lot of violence to it, which, even when you did see action slash siege movies back in the day, you didn't always see all that violence, which you do definitely see a lot of in Assault on Precinct 13. So, with that said, I absolutely loved this movie the first time I saw it, which was actually just a few years ago. I had never even heard of it until, friends of mine clued me in on it, and I checked it out, I think when it was on not Amazon, but on Netflix. It was on Netflix a few years ago. I don't think it is now, but it was at one point, and when it was, I checked it out. So yeah, I really loved it. I was a huge fan of the soundtrack. I was a huge fan of the movie itself. It's definitely one of those movies you're reminded of every now and then, and you want to pick up and be able to watch whenever you want to. So of course it's got to be in my collection, and I was very happy to see actually that it came with the slipcover because you never know with these somewhat older Scream and Shout Factory releases whether or not they actually are going to be first printings that came with the slipcover. So, yes, this one came with a slipcover, and it's actually probably in the best condition of any slipcover I've ever received from Amazon. I attribute that to the fact that it came in a box. So yeah, it's always nice when you can get actual boxed things from Amazon instead of getting it all in, the bubble mailers. So yes, this is the slip cover with the slip cover artwork, which you can get on the inverse of this, and this is the I guess this is the original artwork for the poster. I didn't know it looked like this, but yeah, very cool. Both forms of art. I mean, check this out. They're both beautiful works of art. I absolutely love it. In fact, honestly, if you can just take a look at this, you can tell they took the text essentially and verbatim put it right here. Well, they put some different artwork here. If I had to choose one that I liked more, I actually kind of like this more, even if this may be the original artwork. It comes with a boatload of special features, new interviews, and actress Nancy Loomis Keys, and art director, sound effects designer Tommy Lee Wallace, audio commentary by writer-director John Carpenter, interview with John Carpenter and actor Austin Stoker, theatrical trailer, and radio spots. So yeah, very cool little edition here. And what I thought was really cool is, I don't think this is the case for all Scream Factory releases, but at least I haven't noticed it until now, if it is. But it's interesting. I had to flip this to the inverse here, the artwork, in order to get this artwork on the outside, which is something I like to do because the slipcover always has like the new artwork, whereas you can get the original artwork in the inverse of this artwork, here on the inside, right? But what I have never noticed before is that they actually gave the original artwork on disc instead of the new artwork, which, if I remember correctly from all my other Scream Factory and Shout Factory releases, they don't typically do that. They typically put the new artwork on here, not the old artwork. So it was interesting to see them work with the old artwork here rather than the new artwork. But either way, very happy to have this in my collection now. I basically got it for free thanks to ad revenue that I was not even expecting to get. So that was a pleasant surprise. But the price that it came to, I told you I got like $27 and some change, right? The price that it came to was $19.86, and fuck, is that when it came out? No, that's $19.76 is when it came out. So 10 years off, but close, If it had been 10 cents cheaper, that would have been just perfect irony, right? But yeah, this is a great movie. I'm happy to have it in my collection, even if it still costs a lot of money. It was apparent to me this is one that, wasn't going to go down in price anytime soon, possibly ever, because if it is going to go out of print, then, and if that is going to happen soon, then, I don't see the price dropping now. I don't see it dropping, and I don't expect it to drop anytime in the next few months. So it's like, unless they do a quick sale to get rid of all their old copies at the end of their production run for this, which they could likely do, and even then you're not likely to get like a super discount on it, maybe $3 or $4 off of the $19 to $20 price tag. Even if that's the case, it's like it's not worth the risk, right? Especially when I got this pristine copy here from Amazon. So I'm very happy with the decision I made there. So I had a couple bucks left over, right? And there are tons of Blu-rays. Well, I wouldn't say tons, but there are some Blu-rays that you can find on Amazon for fairly low price. But one particular movie that my good friend Skinslip keyed me into, that ever since he started talking about it, I've been becoming slowly more and more interested in, was this one, which actually came to about $5 and some change, which was Southland Tales. Now, this is a movie again I've seen on store shelves all the time. I've seen I've seen on online all the time. I've seen the artwork for it. I've seen the the promotions for it and whatnot. But I didn't really know anything about it. I don't think I ever even watched a freaking trailer for it. All I knew about it was that it received some pretty harsh reviews and criticism, and that a lot of people were saying it was a really bad movie. And I guess I don't typically let that keep me from watching a movie, right? But this time around, for whatever reason, I did kind of let that keep me from watching this movie because I was just under the impression that it was something that was universally reviled and that it was something that people didn't actually like and it wasn't very good. Didn't even really know what it was about. And then when my good friend Skinslip starts talking about it and talking about how it's like a dystopian look at what the future may be like, I realized this is actually right up my alley. That kind of story is something I fucking die for. I love to see that kind of story or to hear that kind of story for that matter. So, when I heard that, I was like, well, I like sci-fi slash dystopian stories, and I really want to see where they go with this now. I never got a chance to see it before because I listened to all the naysayers and all the critics who, they may have a point, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't check out the movie. Perfect example for me is a movie that I recently saw. I made Brandon watch as well on Netflix called Radio Free Albemuth. Radio Free Albemuth is based on a story by Philip K. Dick, who you may remember is the guy who did Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which was then loosely translated to film uh, in the film Blade Runner. So everybody knows Blade Runner, right? Well, that's Philip K. Dick, and he's done a lot of other awesome science fiction stories, and it was because of that and that alone that I wanted to see Radio Free Albemuth. Even though I hadn't read the story, I knew enough about it from, what I had read about it that I was intrigued and interested and wanted to see what this movie was actually like and what it was about. So here's the thing about it, right? In terms of technical brilliance in this film, there is none. All right? The editing is poor, the cinematography is poor, the lighting is poor. It really feels like a low budget, made for TV movie that isn't even really good enough to be called that. It honestly feels like something that could have been done better than the people who did like the Stephen King made for TV movies in the 80s and 90s. And I'm not talking about the good ones, I'm talking about the bad ones. All right? So when I say that in technical terms this movie was not good, that's what I mean by it. Like everything about the way that it was made, everything about the pacing, everything about all that good stuff was goddamn horrible. It was just not a good movie. But I liked it. I actually liked it because of the story. Now, I'm willing to admit that the movie itself was no good. It was not a good movie. But I still enjoyed the story, and I'm sure you can get just as much out of the story if you go and read the book that it's based on, if not more. In fact, I can guarantee you'll get more out of the book than you will out of this movie. But because it allowed me to hear the story that I'd never heard before, I enjoyed it for that one little simple fact. Now, does that mean I'm going to give it a fucking 10 out of 10 rating or something? Hell to the no, okay? I'm going to be real. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say it's not a good movie, but I liked it. I liked the story that it presented to me, and because I liked the story, I somewhat enjoyed the movie. Overall, I'd give it like a 4 out of 10 in terms of quality, but I still somewhat enjoyed the movie. So when I hear things about Southland Tales being, maybe not entirely the same in concept, but somewhat similar in certain areas, and especially when I hear tell that it's about, kind of a dystopian future kind of thing, uh, then it makes me want to see it all the more. First of all, you got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who can do no wrong in this movie. You've also got, shoot, what's his name? I love him. I love him to death, and I can't remember his name. Sean William Scott. There we go. Thank you. Thank you, back of the Blu-ray. Sean William Scott is a hilarious guy, and I'm sure he can also do serious roles pretty well as well. But he's a hilarious guy. I love to see him whenever he pops up in whatever movie he's doing, and yeah, I can't wait to see what he does here. But yeah, let's just read the back here to get a sense of what the movie's about. Southland Tales is an ensemble piece set in the futuristic landscape of Los Angeles as it stands on the brink of social, economic, and environmental disaster. Boxer Santaros, uh, Boxer Santaros, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, is an action star who's stricken with amnesia. Gee, that sounds familiar, except for the amnesia part. His life intertwines with Krista Now, an adult film star developing her own reality television project, and Ronald Taverner, Sean William Scott, a Hermosa Beach police officer who holds the key to a vast conspiracy. So when I hear that, when I hear what the movie's about, it brings to mind neo noir. It brings to mind dystopia. It brings to mind uh, predictive fiction. It brings to mind, fuck, what's the other one? The vast conspiracy kind of thing brings to mind stuff like Memento almost, I'm sure it's not really like Memento, but you know I'm picking up these kind of undertones, so to speak. So when I hear that, when I see that from what I what I'm seeing in this movie, then it makes me want to see the movie suddenly. When I actually do some research, and just the basic level of research, and discover that there might be something about this movie that I like. It might be one of those movies that fell under my radar for the stupidest of reasons. My own stupidity, mind you. I'm calling myself out on this. Maybe it's time for me to finally give it a shot and stop being so stupid. So for $5, now it's in my possession, and I have to say, this is also a really good quality Blu-ray. It came in excellent condition. It came with Assault on Precinct 13, so I shouldn't be too surprised. But I was really happy to see that this movie was in a good eco case. Yes, it's an eco case. It's the Eco Light, but there are no holes in this case. And that makes all the difference, because look what I can do. Look what I can do. I can squeeze the case. I can squeeze it to my heart's content. And look. Oh. Oh, the artwork remains fucking pristine. You're killing me here, Eco Case Blu-ray releasers with the fucking holes. You're killing me. If they can do eco cases like this, then there's no excuse for you. There's none! I digress. Very happy to have this. I can't wait to actually check it out so I know what the fuck I'm talking about in regards to Southland Tales. And again, maybe it'll be one of those movies like Radio Free Albemuth that technically it's not brilliant, technically it's not a good movie, but I enjoy the story, so who fucking cares? You know? I'm one of those movie watchers who I can enjoy something that isn't actually good. So, deal with it. Last but not least, that only left me with like a few bucks, right? Because one was almost $20 and the other was $5 and some change. So I had like $2 and some change left over from my gift card that I could spend. I elected to use that towards another purchase to make this purchase only like $5 and some change as well, after you take off the after you take off the gift card amount, it came to like 540 something, I think. So, anyways, I finally decided to pick up something that I did a Netflix picks about, which is The Nightmare. I really, really enjoyed this documentary. I love a good documentary, especially anything that reminds me in any way of like unsolved mysteries. And this very much, the segments in this very much remind me of unsolved mysteries, which I have a lot of nostalgia for. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it because it kind of went back into um, the way that documentaries used to be made versus the way that they're kind of made now. The modern documentary doesn't really do things that way anymore. So to see a return to that kind of style of like recreation of things, which you do see in The Nightmare, I absolutely loved it. I mean, sure, there's a little bit of cheese factor to that because it's the old fashioned way of doing things, but it's still awesome to see. And it's as awesome for me as seeing practical effects, all right? People who freak out over practical effects and love to see practical effects on things, I feel the same way about a documentary that's not ashamed to go back in time with the way documentaries used to be made and do recreations of events, which The Nightmare absolutely does. And they do it so goddamn well that it's just each segment that they do like that is so freaking creepy. It sends chills up your spines. It is absolutely the scariest documentary you will ever see. I absolutely loved it. There were moments that I absolutely jumped out of my skin when I saw this movie. And so I knew I had to have it, right? I knew I had to have this in my collection. I still need to pick up Room 237, which I have seen and I did enjoy, done by the same people who did this movie. So, yeah, if you haven't seen either of these documentaries, you definitely need to check them out. I think this one is still on Netflix. I don't know about Room 237. May still be on Netflix, but if it isn't, you should definitely check that one out as well. That one is a documentary about The Shining. So, yeah, if you're interested in The Shining, then definitely check that one out. If you're interested in this, I only want to throw this cautionary tale out there. It is about night terrors and sleep terrors and shadow people. So if you've ever had dreams like that, this could actually spark them again if you watch this. So if you want to avoid that, and you have been avoiding that for a long time, do not actually watch this movie because it could make your actual nightmares worse. It could make things worse for you. So just being reminded of that in a visual format like this, especially as dramatic and frightening as this is, can be really bad for somebody who has those issues. So if you do have those issues, think twice about actually picking this up or watching this. I said it during my Netflix Picks review. I'm saying it again now. It's important. Be careful with this, all right? Viewer beware. I mean, I don't get to say that with very many horror movies, especially not a horror documentary movie. So, yeah, with that said, viewer beware. And if you're cool with it, then definitely check this one out on Netflix. And if you like it on Netflix, then support the creators and buy the damn movie. This one has been dropping, the price on this one has been dropping like a goddamn tank. And it was thanks to the fact that it was dropping like a goddamn tank that I was actually able to pick it up, even though I didn't have much money to work with. I used some of the money that I got that I had left over from the gift card, and then an extra $5 out of pocket. Not a big deal. Happy to have this in my collection. So, with that said, that's it. Those are the only three things that I picked up this week. And aside from another purchase that I recently made that I probably should not have made and probably won't arrive until next week, that's it. There's nothing else. So, yeah. I don't know what my video will be about for tomorrow, if I even do one for tomorrow, but, I'm mostly trying to put out content that people are going to want to see, people are going to want to watch, and have something actually important or meaningful to say in the content that I'm doing, and I still haven't found my goddamn microphone. So I can't do anything in regards to that, you know? I mean, I'm stuck. So, I mean, I'm hoping that I'll be able to do another video this week, but I don't know what the topic will be, so we'll see when and if it comes to that. Alright. With that said, thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Caloran says hi.